Welcome back. If you've just joined us, trust me, you've missed too much for you to just be joining us. But nevertheless, we move on. Now we have Kamedu Kalamboye to my right to join us, of course, to talk about the ripple effect of ECOWAS intervention on Nigeria. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
All right, and we still have Atiku Abubakar to my left, of course. And before we went on the break, we were talking about a certain party in Nigeria being the headquarters for Bureau de Change, but then we have to, of course, checkmate that, which is actually laughable. And now, backstory for this Niger coup. The ECOWAS has come out to say they gave Niger 1 week, of course, to restore order. But then in less than 1 week, we've seized their power, we've cut off their power supply and all of that. And then we've seen what has happened over the time in where there is war and all of this. And given that our current president is the chairman of ECOWAS, what do you think should be the ripple effect, would be the ripple effect of this on Nigeria? Well,
it's quite sad that after the world is actually going into peaceful negotiations, this kind of coup could still come out. We would quickly leave the internal issues that brought about the coup. Let's check the intervention. Nigeria is going to play a big brother role and going to play a leadership role. Again, it's a time we have to be careful. It's a time these issues should be settled as peaceful as it can be. Everybody, the developed nations, the 5 ruling nations are trying to see how they can colonize or decolonize countries, most especially countries that have potentials and are not growing well. They are seeing how they can infiltrate into them and bring them for proper use. You see what is happening. You saw what happened in Mali. Today is Niger. And if one would be wondering, as small as Niger, what dispute would have brought up a coup. That coup was even masterminded by, I think, a chief of staff or something. So it's embarrassing, and that's to tell you the level of infiltrations they've had in African nations. The effect of ECOWAS intervening in this, I also look at it and it's worrisome. Like some of my colleagues will say, we're analyzing it and they say, Nigeria is already having this problem. Is it because the military Nigerians have not even risen up to say they want to take over the country? We are even worse indebted in sin and everything that is happening in Africa. What role are we going to play? We saw our president. The first step I thought the president would take was a reconciliation move. It's a peace speak to the people in power now. The push was hard, and you're seeing the retaliation coming as hard as it is. There was no need of giving them 1 week, because Nigeria, I can tell you, Nigeria is not ready. If this 1 week has elapsed, I don't think Nigeria as a country was even ready to even do all the intervention they want to do, because we are also having our issues, internal issues. I was expecting the president to come in peacefully to see how to go into a negotiation table. If that is defeated, then we'll be talking about being aggressive. There was no need outrightly to cut off links with them and all of that. From the other side again, I think the man that took over power had not really come out to tell the world what their intention is. Normally when you take over a government, you overthrow a government, there are pronouncements and so is it masterminded? Is there a reason?
Well, he stated a few reasons as corruption, and then you saw there was a video where the Minister of Finance was crying on her when he was asked to talk about some things he had embezzled, and then he was crying, and then there's been a lot of coming out.
That's what I'm saying. When it is internal and when it is progressive, when a coup is progressive, you will know, because immediately they will announce a stipulated time they are going to be and the intention to redirect the process or the activities of the country. But this wasn't the case. If you're talking about corruption, please, I think I overheard somebody in the last program talking about corrupt Nigeria, and we've not fought to this extent. It's a total condemnation. We don't want anything like coup in Africa anymore. So Nigeria as a leading country, elders brothers to these countries, we have to sit up very well, look at these issues. You can see that. I want to quickly thank what's his name, the emir, the Sultan of Sokoto, and yes, Abdul Salami, for their quick intervention, because it would have been a loophole. Because if at 7 days Nigeria didn't sit up to go and do whatever they're supposed to do to reclaim the mandate, it would have been an embarrassment to the country. So I want to say that even though they didn't succeed or they are still in motion, I want to believe that they have gone out there to save the face of Nigerians.
Okay. All right, now over to you, Atiku Abubakar. As of this morning, Nigeria has come out to say they've cut out diplomatic ties with Nigeria and 3 other countries. How do you think this is going to actually affect the brotherhood? Like you said, we are supposedly the elder brother to them.
That's why we need to be cautious in all that we do, because the citizens of that country are even happy with the coup.
With the coup,
so and also, even though that coup is no longer Nigerians and all parts of Africa are no longer interested in coup, but if you try referendum in Nigeria, the outcome will be shocking in the sense that most Nigerians will also prefer military to take over.
But some Nigerians have come out to say the military has tasted some things they are not supposed to taste. And given the past administration where people were expecting the military to actually take full course, because Major General Muhammadu Buhari was expected to be a military head of state then, and they were expecting that to come on board. Do you actually think the military would have done better? Because we, of course, know that we cannot be in that state right now in Nigeria.
Yes, democracy at any time is better compared to the military. But as it is in Nigeria, if you go down the history, you will find out that the military have performed far better than these
the politicians.
Far better. Even the National Assembly, where they are making laws, was built by a military head of state. They cannot do so. They are not doing well. The politicians are not doing very well, and that's why they are giving room to even citizens to think about a military taking over. How do you sell your freedom just like that? But because the politicians are not doing what is expected of them. And in the case of what is happening in Niger, Nigerian government needs to be very cautious. They should not just we don't have enough personnel and enough resources to waste in Niger. We should not go into any war now, because the fact that we are the giant of Africa, if we start this war now, we are going to lose a lot, because these guys are serious. They are serious, and we should not just waste the lives of our military men and then the little resources which we have. We have not been able to contain even insurgency that is being carried out by illiterates within our own country. Why going to start another war? So there's nothing like we embarrassing ourselves. What we should do now, the president or the presidency should issue another statement somehow to tactically withdraw the earlier statement which they made, giving warning. They should not give any warning. We are not ready for war now, because we cannot even start manage any war for now.
I want to quickly differ a little on that instance. You see, when there's such intervention, it's an African thing. I don't think the onus is on Nigerian army to get a fight. I think within last week or this week, we saw the ECOWAS army team arrive Nigeria. They held meeting still for this purpose. I think it's a combined task force that will be put together to face such aggression. And be it as it may, I also want to agree with you that I believe in peaceful negotiation first. There's a coup, and like you rightly said, the citizens, if you look at it tactically, the citizens are also a little bit comfortable because they've been pushed democratically to the world. Lots of corruption at tendencies in the country, under development, nothing is happening in Nigeria, and then the citizens are even beginning to say, let's even try this coup d'etat and see how it goes. But it's condemnable in the world now. So we have to be tactical, like rightly said. Withdraw that statement, see how we can approach them, like what the Sultan of Sokoto and Abdulsalam did. Let's get a peaceful front to Niger and see how we can negotiate. In the course of negotiation, one would have even seen, perhaps this one even trying to redirect the country into its rightful footing. So I think when it comes to execution, it's not only Nigeria. Even though we are not ready, the mindset of Nigerians, even I think the military may not be too firm and strengthened to go in for such intervention at the moment. So we should be able to negotiate, talk about these issues as Africans, and see how we can bring them down, so that we don't attract external forces to begin to, see how they can infiltrate into the issues. Okay,
all right. Enough in that, and let's quickly, as we wrap up in next 5 minutes, we'll talk about NLC contempt of court. As of this morning, NLC has threatened to go on a strike come August 14 if the federal government does not withdraw their lawsuit? I'd like to get your opinion on this in 5 minutes.
I told you that yesterday, the day president, I still emphasize that if it is true, and today it is coming out true, the federal government actually sued NLC. It then means the federal government, they are not ready. It is becoming so disheartening. This president, prior to election, had told us his level of readiness. I was not one of the people that believed that he was going to win, but I also one of the persons that believe that the 4 persons that are contesting, they are capable enough to rule this country. And as good as he emphasized on Emilio Con, and this is now today before him, even the tribunals are on, and he is taking this pass. It took him almost an expiring date to even produce very scanty personalities for ministerial position. But there are issues Nigerians are facing. They are allowing this fuel subsidy removal thing to overwhelm other very critical and very important issues in the country, which we are trying to condemn. I told you, we are trying to proceed to see how we can also intervene, back up NLC as youth bodies in the country, as civil society groups, to back up NLC to really give them strength. NLC have been very firm and good enough for this government, hoping that they are just new. So let's see how we can give them ample of time to succeed. Visually, ordinarily, 100 days is good for us to even have seen the strides, his footsteps. I told you Wednesday that President Mohamed Buhari just came, and in a day, companies began to run away from the country. So we are not seeing that in this government. We thought that it was going to be there are so many expectations Nigerians are looking up to. Everybody, if they put sample opinion in public space now, you will see that so many people are not happy with the ministerialists that come up. Although I also have the opinion that it depends on his policy line. It depends on his drive line, his developmental drive line. If he is serious and have the will and ability, he will have an overwhelming control on his ministers when it comes to execution. So I'm not really bothered about the personalities of people he has gathered, but what delivery message is he going to pass to them and ensure that these things are delivered? I think this is my take on the NLC. Nobody, no law. I've not seen the law. No law can bridge NLC from taking its strike.
Okay, all right. Over to you, Matuku Abubakar. Same question. NLC said they were going to go on strike come August 14. Do you think the federal government should actually withdraw the lawsuit, or NLC should just take its course?
The federal government should withdraw the lawsuit because after all, after the first protest to the National Assembly, I saw a picture of the president with the NLC president, meaning they started another negotiation again. And if you are negotiating, you don't need to continue any court case again. And if they don't, I think in this case now, NLC is right. And majority of Nigerians are backing NLC. Because the current leadership in the country is not doing what Nigerians expect. Life has become very, very difficult for most Nigerians, and there's nothing, no even plans on ground to change the situation for now. So NLC will definitely, they will have to stand firm and ensure that this protest continue, irrespective of whether they withdraw the lawsuit or not. This protest must continue. You cannot do this to Nigeria. After all, the president was among those that protested when Goodluck Ebele Jonathan wanted to remove subsidy. Not only that Jonathan wanted to remove subsidy, there was a very good plan on ground. So I don't know why we were against Jonathan. Now we have silence. That's why if you go against a man with a good heart, there's always consequence. Look at what we are going through now. Look at what we are going through. All of us, those of us, we protested, we were shouting, Jonathan is weak, Jonathan is weak. We are now seeing weakness now.
All right, our viewers at home, that is where we wrap it up for today. Thank you to our gentlemen in the studio. Thank you so much for coming for Polity for today. It will be good to see you once again on the Polity.
Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. All right, viewers at home, thank you for staying with us on the Polity today. We couldn't take all of my questions because right now they've been screaming in my ear, it's time to wrap up, it's time to wrap up. But then I'm sure you guys learned one or two, and thank God it's been an insightful one. Thank you to our viewers for watching, and thank you to our backstage guys, the MCR guys, our prompters, the producers, and all of everybody in short. I remain Messi Babajide. See you same time, same station next week. Bye.